Good afternoon, everyone. This is Adam Becker. We will be getting the webinar kicked off here in just a few minutes. We've got a lot of folks still joining in, so give us 1 or 2 more minutes and we'll get going. Thanks. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get today started. Welcome to the Ides of February, everyone. I hope you all had a fantastic and romantic Valentine's Day yesterday. We have a fantastic webinar for you today with a couple of exciting things that we're happy to share. It is a new fiscal year for us and for anyone else on the offset fiscal quarters. So we have taken the last 2 weeks here at Octave to revitalize ourselves and to really focus on what we're going to be doing for our fiscal 2019 year. And so we'll be sharing a little bit around some of the initiatives that we're going to be launching. And as always, joined with me today is the beautiful Kelsey Briggs. And as always, we like to make these things interactive and fun for everybody. So feel free to ask any types of questions that you have in a chat window in front of you. And keep those coming as we are talking through the content. We like to be able to respond to those in real time, but we will always stick around a little bit afterwards as well if you have any off-topic questions that you want to ping us as well. We're going to be walking through some featured enhancements, a new user experience for the first time. And then again, we're going to be talking a little bit about what to expect from Octave this year from a product perspective, and then we'll walk through some strategic areas around e-signatures, and then again Q&A. Again, my name is Adam Becker. I am the VP of Relationship Management here at Octave, and this is being recorded. So if you want to share this with your friends and family afterwards, we'll be sending this out to everyone, so you can always review it later. And to kick us off, Kelsey is going to walk through some featured enhancements.
Great, thanks, Adam. So I'm excited to share this update with you. This was just released this previous week, and it's some improvements to the first-time user experience in Octave. So what I've got up on my screen here, sharing with you right now, is the email that a new user would have previously received. For those administrators we have on the phone, which typically we get a large audience on our webinars here, you might remember that when setting up a user previously, you'd have to enter in their name, email address, a username, and you'd actually have to set their password for them when you went about creating them as a user for the first time. So with this enhancement that I'm going to show you today, we've really kind of, in keeping with efforts of improving security and simplifying user management, improved this new user onboarding experience. So some of the things that have changed: first, Octave is no longer going to require that administrator to set a user password when you first create that user. And so when you create that user, Octave is going to send a new email. So what I'm showing on my screen here for you right now is the old email that went out It was really centered around getting that user to confirm their active account, but didn't give them really enough information to really know their username or what their account login was going to be. So updating my screen here for you now to show you the new and improved user email. This is a new account confirmation email, so it contains their username, their account domain, a link to confirm their account, and that link is going to allow them to set their password. So here's what that experience looks like for them. So as a user, their experience is just a little bit more simplified. We hope that this is actually a really subtle improvement that just makes things a lot easier for people, but not in a way that they would hopefully notice. So again, for administrators, you'll go about setting up those users like you have, except you won't be required to set that password. When your user receives their email, they'll have information here about how to access your organization's active account, what their username is, and then they'll be able to set their password on their own the first time that they log in. One other notable enhancement here is that Octave is now will now allow administrators to send a user a reset password email if that's necessary. So you can find that under the administration tab when you open up your users screen and you select a user, you'll be able to send that reset email if you need to.
Fantastic. Hopefully this helps a lot of administrators managing all of the users out there and improve their experiences that we go through. All right. I'll take the helm here for a little bit about what's coming in our calendar 2018. So one of the first things that we'll touch on here is just the way that we want to be better around setting expectations with you, our customers, in a public way of what we're doing and what the vision of Octave and specifically for our product. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is the way that we're communicating both internally with us, the employees and the account managers, to be able to communicate with you in one-on-one situations, but then also, as we'll be doing here in a few minutes, making sure that we are taking some steps in order to publicly talk with you, our customers, externally in a broad sense on what we plan on doing in a couple of different time frames. What you're looking at on screen here is really the way that we are viewing this world. So if we actually jump to the bottom of this slide, you can see that in the 1 to 3 month time, so 90-day month time, essentially these are the areas of our application that have been scoped by our product management team and are being currently worked by our engineers that are all very much kind of hardened within a product roadmap and will be set for release within these 3 months. So when we think about what's coming down a product roadmap with any software product that you guys interact with, there's always some form of risk of, hey, maybe something won't fit into this. But in this 1 to 3 month time frame, we should be pretty confident that these things are going to be happening and be released in this time frame. So this is what we're planning on doing. We don't anticipate any big fires to come up to be able to offshoot these areas. And so we'll take a look today at what we plan on releasing here in the next 1 to 3 months and what we're focusing on, essentially what we're building today for you guys tomorrow. But then we look at the next quarter, essentially, the 4 to 6 months. This is where we're really planning on the strategy. So while it is not exactly known which specific features will be released, what we're going to be talking about on the essentially 4 to 6 month strategies, what we are planning from a larger kind of one step up perspective. Here are the areas that we plan on doing, and we really will be seeing a lot of product come out in certain areas, but we may not know exactly which those will come out as features, enhancements, those types of things. And the last one then is product vision. This is what we should really be thinking about, and why we want to be able to cast a product vision with you today is so that you can begin helping us understand where can we potentially find additional uses for Octave in the future. As always, it's the job of account managers and relationship managers here at Octave to essentially become as sticky as possible with you, right? We want to find more areas to leverage your investment with Octave, and the best way we can do that is to start getting out in front and really educating you, our customers, on what our product vision is so you can start thinking about strategically how do we become closer partners and how we work together to, again, bring more value to you. So to jump right into it here, for the next quarter, so Q1 2018, again, we're in calendar year 2018, these are some of the areas that we are really going to be focusing in on. Two major topics for us. One, that the last webinar we talked about was modern variables. This is where you should be able to see a really, I would say, a big enhancement to our current way that we view the documents that your sales users are using today, and essentially moving towards getting away from these squiggly line, variable name, squiggly line. So we want to see those go away. That really is confusing for most non-coding type of individuals. We want to make sure that the modern variables are there for you. So you can see this is in coding and testing today. So definition of coding and testing is literally this is being engineered, and while we have people working on this today, we also want to make sure it's QA'd and tested. And there's a lot of different areas where this will be prevalent throughout the application. So again, I know that some of you out there on the webinar today already have access to modern variables, and definitely want to be able to get more of you access. So if you are curious to learn more about this, if you missed our last webinar, you can go ahead and reach out to your account manager, relationship manager today to learn more about it. It's something we want to educate you on, identify if you're a good fit now or when we do full release of modern variables. But we want to encourage you to be able to make sure that you have access to this as soon as you possibly can, because we do believe that this is going to be a great experience enhancer for your users. The second area you can see is doc creation user experience. We've heard feedback from many of you that the first time or the several time experience of creating a new document sometimes can be a little bit clunky. And so we want to be able to start addressing those issues through some UI UX changes within the application. You can see we're in the define and design phase within February of this, but we will be focusing in this first quarter, and we're committing to you to be able to release some changes to our UI UX to make it so it's easier to be able to create that experience or create those documents and be able to see some improvements to the UI and EX over this first quarter. This is probably, and again, setting realistic expectations with you, this is probably not going to be a complete overhaul. However, we should see some improvements where maybe buttons will be moved so that people know how to access them a little bit easier, and it's just a little bit easier for people to inherently know where to go within the application. So we're really focusing in on the end user, so your sales reps, and quite honestly, the people that you're sending your documents to, we want to focus in on their experience and make sure that we are always working to make that an easier one. Moving into Q2 of 2018, again, this is much more of our strategic vision. This is where we want to be able to go, but we're not exactly sure what this is going to amount to in terms of specific features and exactly what you will see in terms of the customer as enhancements. However, we are very committed to really focusing in on these main areas. The first one is the dashboard. That's that first screen that you land on when you are jumping into Octave. We understand that there's a lot of good information on that, but we believe that there's ways that we can make that better and more useful depending upon the role of which you play within Octave. For account managers, for other folks like sales users, we want to make sure that we are consistently making sure to improve that experience for you. The next one we are going to be working on is for several of you that are on the line today, and many of our customers out there that are in larger organizations. You may have multiple areas or multiple CRMs, multiple integrations that we want to be able to address as well. And this is just a fairly common problem that we see within enterprises that have multiple CRMs. It's a really tough thing to be able to address when you may have large business units working across these CRMs. We want to be able to work where you are. So we're going to see some work being done on the multiple integration front and making that easier to use. And the last one, again, is really kind of hand in hand around work groups. So work groups is a piece of functionality that allows us to manage different segments or different roles of humans, different sales groups. And between multiple integrations and work groups, we're going to likely see some enhancements come around of just making sure that it's easier to group people together and manage large sums of individuals utilizing Octave. We'll see this come in a number of different ways, but again, essentially, this is going to come through, and we don't know exactly what features will look like, but you can anticipate us being able to talk more specifically about those features here in a month or two. And then the last piece you're going to see is around contract management. So from a very high level, Octave, as you very well know, and we're going to be talking a little bit about esignature next, but Octave has been a place that our customers and you have really pulled us from a concept of a proposal. And 5-6 years ago, when we were first getting started here as a little company, we were really focused in on that concept of proposal. Your demands and your requests have really started pulling us in a number of different ways, but it's definitely pulling us into this realm we consider contract management. So not only are we seeing that people are generating many, many different types of contracts today, getting them signed electronically or offline today, but then also storing those in a repository, finding one access inside of Octave. And we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of more and more of those customers that are looking at us as a contract management tool. How can we help generate more contracts? How can we help understand what are the statuses of those contracts as they move through different workflows? And then how do we identify and give you guys a single place to be able to view and find different contracts that have been sent and signed over the years? This is something that is a vision of ours, something that we're going to be continuously working towards over the next year, and then likely some. So you're going to see a lot more work and a lot more definition put into the concept of what contract management means to us and what it means to the marketplace. We're really, really excited to have some focus around what we'll be doing, what we'll be delivering, and essentially where our company is going to be marching towards. So you're going to not only see this come to fruition in the products that we're releasing, the features, so on and so forth, but also in content as well. How can we start addressing the needs and the use cases and the best practices that you guys are asking us for on a daily basis for this area called contract management? So we're really excited to be able to start talking about this. This is highly likely something we're going to be coming back to on a very regular basis. Highly likely we're going to be doing so both one-on-one with you individually as well as in these webinars. So wanted to give you the first look at our strategic vision here over the next year. And again, many, many more details to come. And you can always find those details here on our monthly webinars. All righty. We're going to move now back over to Kelsey to talk a little bit about e-signatures.
Awesome. I hope you guys are excited about the roadmap. We're really thrilled and just delighted with where Octave is heading and can't wait to continue delivering a lot of value to all of you, our loyal customers. So we thought we'd end today's content with a little plug, not even a shameless plug, for a case study that Octave put out. You can get this from octave.com/resources. This is a free guide. It's our case for e-signature. And just for a little bit of context, actually about 75% of our customers, 75% of Octave users are using e-signatures to close business. And we feel that that's a pretty big number. At our core, we are a document generation platform. But we know that when we're taking the power of Octave document generation and connecting that to the power of an e-signature, a lot of our customers are able to realize further streamlined sales processes, shortened sales cycles, higher growth, and overall just better productivity. So I want to give you a little teaser for what's involved in our resource here for you. And again, you can get that at octave.com/resources, and we have linked that for you in today's chat. So just to start at the beginning with what is an e-signature. There's really some various definitions of e-signatures out there, but in general, it really, an e-signature really refers to acknowledging or adopting an electronic message transaction of a document. So there's really three well-accepted forms of signatures. That might be a wet signature. You could think of that as putting pen to paper. A digital signature, which really involves more of encrypting a document with a code that is going to make that impossible to duplicate or tamper without you knowing. That would invalidate it. And an e-signature is what we're talking about today. And this is when we're, in the case of specifically working with Octave or maybe DocuSign that you're familiar with, one of our great partners, we're asking people to agree to conduct transactions electronically online and typically gaining their signature to close business. So here are a few benefits that we talk about in the case study, really around shortening sales cycles and increasing win rates. So here's a stat for you. E-signatures shorten sales cycles by 2%, just over 2% year over year. And I know that that's a small percentage, but really when you're looking for some advantages that you can give to your company and your organization, every little bit is going to help. And on the flip side of that, it's about 4% year over year increase in opportunity win rates for those who are using e-signatures. So I think there's some pretty powerful metrics there. And we know that if you're not using an e-signature, the process for gaining a signature probably involves attachments and email that can really delay a process. So when you're using an e-signature, and that can really help not only shorten the sales cycle, but give your buyer a better experience, that's really the goal. So one quote we've got here is from an Octave customer who uses Octave alongside our fantastic partners at DocuSign. And we've got some information about the way they use Octave in our case studies on our Octave website. But they make a comment here about how easy it is for a customer to interact with a document e-signing up to 20 signature fields in less than a minute. So really taking that customer experience online to make that sales cycle faster and close that deal more quickly.
For those of you who are older, like I consider myself, when I was growing up in the world of sales, when I was a sales rep, I was living in the age of fax machines. And for anyone out there who can appreciate e-signature, I feel like I'm kind of a core demographic that really got to be at the forefront to see e-signature come to fruition, where originally when I was getting deals signed, I can remember end of quarters, literally like waiting next to the fax machine, waiting for this deal to come through. And then when it didn't come through immediately, I was questioning the validity of the person who was sending it and trying to figure out, did they get in the wrong fax machine number and all those types of things. So to see it go from where it was just a few short years ago to today, where I can not only understand when someone's inside of a document utilizing Octave, then I can just in seconds get those signatures and get them automatically pushed back to the correct people. We see that e-signature is really not a nice to have anymore. This is definitely much more of a need to have out there. And it's something that we've obviously built directly into the Octave platform. So if you utilize DocuSign, we have an integration. Call us if you're not using it today. Love to be able to do so. But if you don't have a DocuSign or another e-signature tool, we also have one that you can utilize for no additional investment. So we'd love to find the areas that, whether it's a contract, whether it's an NDA, whether it is even employee agreements that you need to get signature on. There's many different applications for this, and there's a lot of different ways that we can leverage this need to have type of technology that we're just seeing all kinds of business move to. Again, one thing that we believe in heavily, that this is not going to be going away anytime soon, and that everyone's going to be moving to eventually.
Yeah, exactly. So here's one of the first things, shortening the sales cycle. really finding a way to create some urgency in that sales cycle and improve the customer experience to bring that time down and increase those win rates. Next topic you can find a little bit more information about in our case study is about achieving greater annual revenue growth. Sales teams actually only are achieving 55% of their company's annual sales goals. And we think that's really significant because e-signature users grow company revenue at a 69% greater rate year over year compared to those who aren't using an e-signature. It really gives us some ways to have insights into how long deals are taking to close and understanding every stage of that buyer's journey. At Angie's List, active customer who is utilizing, they're an online home services directory utilizing Octave and DocuSign. They were able to use that Octave insights and e-signature data to close more deals and make sales reps' jobs easier. They've told us, you can't really improve something if you don't have the baseline to measure it. So opening up some of the statistics and the insights behind this was a really big win for them as well. And the last area that we hit on in our resource is improving sales productivity. This is really about maximizing the value of maybe other integrated sales technologies that you have, and maybe seeing that e-signature as an anchor point for a complete end-to-end sales technology stack. So in an all-digital landscape can really be key to sales productivity and improving that. So here I've got a little graphic for you of ways you can think about taking that CRM or CPQ and connecting that to a process that includes delivering a document, gaining an e-signature, and then pushing that automatically back for storage and really eliminating a lot of manual steps. I've got a quote for you from one of our customers at GE, where they really took an inefficient contract process and automated a lot of their workflows with Octave and DocuSign, which was all about saving valuable time and increasing their productivity. So for them, once they implemented Octave, they're able to save an hour and 20 minutes of their time just by the productivity that they put in place, and really estimated that would, at their current volume, would save them a full year's worth of man hours. So providing that, not only that end-to-end solution for your customer's experience, but also the manual steps that are involved for the person who's helping get that transaction done are going to be super valuable. At the end of the day, we see e-signature as just a really valuable piece of streamlining your sales cycle. Adam gave you a few teasers of ways that we have customers using e-signature today. So if anything, I hope we've really validated that you're a great choice in using an e-signature. Or for those of you who aren't as familiar and might be interested and have perked up here, please contact us and let us know if we can talk to you about ways you could leverage e-signatures on your documents that you're sending. A few really simple areas might be your agreements or contracts, perhaps an offer letter or a proposal, a purchase order, maybe a renewal document or a scope of work. So the scope could be really grand, but we would love to have a conversation with you and see how we could help you really increase some of those efficiencies and productivity that we just reviewed.
Yeah, that's right. And as we deal with e-signature and Octave in general, one of the things that we'll talk about, kind of tying this full circle into the product roadmap, is really around surprising and delighting our sales reps, our sales people that we all love and will take care of. That's our jobs. And so as we think about this, e-signature is one of those things that as a sales rep and as one that like to take care of them, this is one that definitely is a great for each and every person out there to make their lives easier. And we oftentimes hear that pushback is, well, the people that I'm sending these to don't really like it. The people that I'm saying to don't really know how to use it, those types of things. Would love to have a conversation around that as well. Oftentimes that's what we hear in early stage conversations, but we come to find out is everyone out there has utilized some form of electronic signature, whether you're in a B2B sales process or whether you're going through and we're coming up on tax season. I'd like to know how many people out there are, when they're sending their taxes in, they're sending in a wet signature and putting those in an envelope and sending them off to the government. Most cases, people are utilizing electronic signature even when they believe they may not be doing that. So a lot of FUD out there around this, but as we move forward, we're definitely going to be talking more and more around how do we not only keep the process of signatures online, but how do we keep this entire process all the way from the document creation to the contract management to the e-signature and digital storage in a repository. By keeping all of that online, again, our vision of the future here is that you're going to be able to provide more insight into your business, provide more efficiency for your sales reps so they can be more productive as they go forward. Again, this is the end of our webinar, and we appreciate you spending yet another 30 minutes with us. Hopefully this is a little bit of information for you. And as always, we do this every third Thursday of the month. March 15th, the Ides of March, is our next one at 4 p.m. Eastern. Join us at that time. Please reach out to us, your relationship manager, your account management team. We are your voice internally. We are your advocates, and we love you dearly. So please reach out to us in this Valentine's season. We'll remind you that whenever we possibly can. We're going to stick around here if you have any additional questions. If you have any concerns or derogatory statements you want to throw at us, feel free to do that as well. Otherwise, we wish you a fantastic afternoon and a great day. Thanks, guys.